Head of the Secondary Schools Principals Association, Lyra Pascal, was not mincing words on Wednesday when she voiced her concerns about the Education Ministry's CXC requirements. Pascal, who is the principal of the George Charles Secondary School, says some schools are assigned students who fall way below the pass rate, and yet they're measured by the same standards as all other schools. She called it the one-size-fits-all policy.
All of the schools do not get the same caliber of students. And there is no way that you could have a one-size-fits-all program for the schools. You have to teach children at their level and try to bring them up. In some schools, children write 10 subjects. In other schools, they can only write 3. And I think what they can do, we encourage them to do. When I looked at the circular, I'm wondering, what is important here? Is it passing the subject or writing the subject?
But Chief Education Officer Augusta Eiffel says the requirement has always been in place, but the ministry was forced to send out a reminder because some schools have not been in compliance. She says it is a situation whereby schools place more emphasis on school pass rates than giving every child an opportunity to succeed.
The circular was sent out to remind principals that it's not a new thing, it's not a new policy. It is simply a reminder that the students must do 5 subjects, including the English and mathematics. Far too often we look at we don't look at the children. Far too often we're more concerned with percentages, percentage pass rates, and perhaps the ministry may be at fault in that school, when we publish, we look at this school came first and this school came second and this school came, but we cannot compromise a child's future for a school's percentage.
Eiffel says after 5 years within the school system, even weak students should have grown to a level where they can meet the minimum requirements set by the ministry. She says it forces teachers and principals to work harder to make a difference in their students' lives.
The school must make a difference. We're expecting them to work with them to a particular level. They will not necessarily be able to write 8 subjects and your 10 and your 13 subjects and whatever. But the school should be pitching the children at a level. Do not already say, we shouldn't be saying, look, because you came in with 15% at common entrance, that you cannot do. They are children that develop later. You stimulate them. You set them that you work with them towards a particular level.
However, the president of the Secondary Schools Principals Association says the ministry's expectations are simply unrealistic.
The general proficiency was designed for students who would be going on to higher education, to further study. The basic was designed for those who would go into the world of work. Now with the abolition of the basic, there is a gap, there is a void. All students are forced to do the general proficiency, and some of them fall way below because the exams are not pitched at their level. So it really is unfair for the ministry to require all students to do 5 subjects and more at the CSEC general proficiency. Now I think they really have to rethink that.
But Pascal says there is hope for students who may not be academically inclined with the introduction of the Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence and the Caribbean Vocational Qualifications. She says these place emphasis on assessing students' skills and not the traditional CXC qualifications. Lovely St. Amy reporting for the HTS News, Channel 4.